At the end of 2009, the United States defense budget and spending numbers around $705.92 billion. By comparison, Kooptopia's war/defense budget is $554.92 billion, the Kooptopian currency, half of the U.S. budget in USD. One is a country and a nuclear superpower, and the other is a sovereign communist monarch state. Both are different in politics, geography, and GDP, but there is one thing that both the United States and Kooptopia have in common. Both of their populations do not like war in general, but both will not tolerate being attacked or invaded. Because of the Niborians' invasion, the American people and Kooptopians unite as one against a common enemy. On the morning of the 8th, the Cuba-American alliance is renewed. King Bowser grants access to American soldiers in Oregon who needs to head through the kingdom, and President Obama had ordered mobilization of all forces in the states surrounding California's borders, i.e. Nevada, Arizona, and Oregon. On March 9th, the United States Joint Chiefs of Staff meets in the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia. Chairman Michael Mullen heads the meeting. With him are the Secretaries of Defense, Robert Gates and Leon Panetta. Assembled to the meeting are George Casey Jr., Chief of the Army, James T. Conway, Commandant of the Marine Corps, Admiral Gary Ruffhead, Chief of Naval Operations, General Norton A. Schwartz, Chief of the Air Force, General Craig R. McKinley, Chief of the NGB, National Guard Bureau, and Alexander Roosevelt, Chief of the Anti-Megalosaurus Force. On the phone call with them is Kooptopian Chief of the Armed Forces, Commander Rodney Meinko. All of the men in Koopa discussed on the possible and likely Koopa-American counterattack. An attack, McKinley stated, is possible if the intel has anything to suggest. 5 hours earlier, unmanned RQ-7 shadow drones flew over Niborian-occupied San Francisco. Many targets have been scanned and identified. Anti-air guns, armored vehicles and tanks, called BX-2 hovering tanks by the Niborians, 15 in total, and troops. The Niborians spotted the drones flying over them, but they did not see them as a threat and did not engage. From the photographs and footage that the drones had taken, they are examined thoroughly by the chiefs in the Pentagon and Kooptopian High Command in Kootropolis. What they also find out is very interesting. The Niborians have a perimeter of 25.63 miles, an area of 36.74 square miles of the entire city. To the west, 3/4 of Ocean Beach is heavily guarded with heavy guns pointing out into the Pacific. Behind it, the men in Kubas counts 10 to 12 army groups, 400 troops each, in Sunset, Richmond, Forest Hill, Pacific Heights, Union Square, the downtown area, and Golden Gate Park. In those troops are Niborians armed to the teeth with rockets and small arms. However, the Parkside, Stonestown, Sunnyside, College Hill, Bernal Heights, Noah Valley, and Mission districts, and everywhere else behind them are lightly armed and patrolled. Casey Jr. proposes the idea to have a major armed and infantry attack from the south heading up north. Meinko proposes an offensive from the north heading down south into San Fran, while Conway, McKinley, Ruffhead, and Schwartz argue that an offensive should be in the east from Oakland and the west from the Pacific. Chairman Cholin ends the argument by stating, "Have you completely forgotten about combined arms warfare? Use it." Combined arms warfare. An approach to warfare that seeks to integrate different combat arms of a military to achieve mutual complementary effects. This is accepted immediately. The remaining issue is the positions of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, National Guard, and AMF, and how it will be executed. Roosevelt intervenes and gives an idea on the table. The combined Japanese-Kuba-American fleet will provide artillery and air support 10 miles away while taking out the coastal artillery guns. At the same time, the 11th, 13th, and 15th MEUs, Marine Expeditionary Units, heads towards Ocean Beach. Those 3 units will drive through the Sunset and Richmond districts and the Golden Gate Park. Meanwhile, from the north, the Kooptopian 67th and 51st Armies, along with the U.S. 7th Infantry and 1st Marine Divisions, will attack down south crossing the Golden Gate Bridge if it is not guarded. As they do, the Kuba's 1st and 18th Artillery Regiments will provide support. The U.S. 1st and 2nd Field Artillery Regiments in Oakland will be on standby. Next, the 3rd Armored Corps and 1st Armored Division will thrust north from the south under the command of Robert W. Cones and Major General Terry A. Wolfe, respectively. For the Air Force, it will be the 152nd and 309th Fighter, the 78th, 91st, 489th, and 867 Attack, and the 96th and 343rd Bomber Squadrons, escorted by the 21st Fighter Squadron. With them will be the Kooptopian 55th and 100 Attack Squadrons. Those attack and bomb squadrons will be attacking the Niborian ships and eliminating the ground targets, while the fighters will fend off against enemy UFOs on all sides. Finally, are the National Guard's 40th MPB Military Police Brigade and 40th Infantry Division and the AMS 20th and 65th Infantry Brigades. They will cross the bay into the city from the east. For the Japanese, they will be deploying troops that will accompany the 13th and 15th MEUs. Which brings them to the actual logistical problem. Commander Michael asks about Mechagodzilla. He highlights that if the Niborians launches that thing, the surprise attack will be ruined. However, Roosevelt has intel given to him by spies from the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, within San Francisco that says that the Niborians are prioritizing on Godzilla, Gamera, and King Bowser, and the humans are secondary. The Niborians sees those three monsters as the real threat because of what happened in Honolulu. In this case, they can proceed with the combined arms warfare. With no other option, the chiefs of staff are left silent, agreeing with the AMF general. Notes are taken, battle plans are made, and all are unanimous in their separate goals. Gentlemen, and Koopa, this will be called Operation Big Bang, and it will begin in 50 hours, starting now. "30 minutes later, the chiefs of staff gets in contact with their respective branches of the US and Kooptopian armed forces. During that time, the press and news outlets are forbidden from telling what is going to happen in the next 2 days, fearing that it would compromise the surprise attack. 4 B-52H Stratofortress bombers, nicknamed the Buff, Big Ugly Fat Fucker, yes Billy, are being loaded. The aircraft is 48.5 meters in length, 56.4 meters in its wingspan, has a maximum speed of 650 miles per hour, and a max crew of just 5. The bomber, during the Cold War, was used to carry nuclear bombs, but for this mission, they are carrying 70,000 pounds of conventional bombs. Meanwhile, F-16 Fighting Falcons and F-22 Raptor fighter jets are being fueled and armed with its payload of AIM-120 AMRAAM air-to-air missiles. In Kooptopia, the Koopa Stukas are being loaded with 2 2,500-pound bombs each and armor-piercing stealth rounds. At the same time, the armored armies and divisions assigned are being transported to California. In Kooptopia, the 67th and 51st Armies are being mobilized. Within the 51st is the most elite and well-trained group in its army, the 14th Armored Division. The old M60 Patton and T-34 heavy tank with a 105mm and 120mm cannon each is still in use within their disposal. These tanks begins towing 152mm howitzers out of the kingdom to set up 10 miles away from San Francisco. Speaking of cannons, on March 9th, the battle carriers Texas, North Carolina, Missouri, Wisconsin, Hoshi-Shirogane, and Jinchensha removes KAP, MAP, shells and replaces them with high-explosive shells into their rifles. The crews and sailors themselves are being informed on what the attack plan is going to be. Both Admirals Harrington and Shindo talks what the mutants and Esper will be doing in the planning room. In front of them are blueprints and photos of the 3 ships that were taken by the drones. The others were drawn by Honda's photo memory. Alright, here is how it's going to go down. All of you will be infiltrating into 3 Niborian ships. Why us? Because you'll have a better chance of survival than a regular human. Oh, come on. Your job will be much more easier than Gamera than mine's. You know what it looked. We barely saw anything past that point. Second, don't jinx me. Third, you'll be inside of Gamera. So, no, he'll be doing most of the fighting, not you. Amen. Anyway, Sakusa. Yes, you, Vargas, and the Ice Queen will be inside of the bite taking out the main guns that can affect the air and ground forces. We'll get it done, sir. Giovanni. Yes? The 2 of you will be infiltrating the guide. Find and destroy the controller of Mechagodzilla. The brothers gives the Admiral a thumbs up. Let me guess, I have to get inside of the Requiem by myself, right? Not necessarily. I'll be going with you. You will? Why not? It's been a long time since I saw combat. Thanks, Gigi. Look after her and make sure she doesn't die. I'm guessing the monsters will be handling Mechagodzilla. Luigi, that does not need to be a question. Also, what if this whole thing backfires and they find out immediately? We have intel that the Niborians have prioritized the Guardians of Earth. Wow, I cannot believe I said that out loud. You'll get used to it. Oh, by the way, Kenji. Yeah? The president contacted me and said when this is all over, you will have to head to Washington. You too, Eleanor. For what? Elliot tilts his head at her and raises an eyebrow. Oh, right. Did you think that what you two did would be forgotten about? To be honest, yes. Any more questions? The room falls silent. Alright. All of you will be known as the 1st Mukon Squad, or Bad Company. Vanishing Jack will take all of you to Edwards Air Base. There will be a transport that will be waiting for you. Dismissed.